Hello there everyone, this is me Ethan here and welcome back to another LEGO review video. And as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail and what you can see right here, I've now bought every single LEGO Avatar 2 or Avatar The Way of Water set. Now if you don't know by now, I'm a pretty big Avatar fan. Tonight I'm going to see Avatar The Way of Water for my third time in 3D. So I'm very excited to go see it once again for the third time. And I bought every single LEGO set since its release from the Wave. So today I thought I would do a mega review and review every single set from the smallest all the way up to the largest. That was a very quick catch. So without any further ado, before I make this video any longer, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off with the smallest set, the Ilu Discovery. Alright, so starting off with the smallest set of the Wave, we have LEGO Avatar Set 75575 Ilu Discovery, which contains 2 minifigures with 179 pieces, and it retails for $25 in the United States. First, we will take a quick look at the box and the instructions. It's going to be very quick for every single one of these sets since this is a mega review. Here's the box. I love the little circles at the bottom that show the characters, the underwater design. The graphic design in general for these sets look really amazing. There we have Soraya for the real life size. And there is the back of the box, obviously a punch tab, and this box is not balanced very well because it's kind of got an arch on the bottom. But overall, really nice box design as always. Here is the instruction manual. Once again, we have these really ugly white and blue backgrounds that we've been getting from LEGO recently. The QR code, there's the wind guy on the back, and every single one of the instructions we get an advertisement for both waves of LEGO Avatar, which you don't see very often. So I'm not going to show that anymore once we get into the other instructions. But I do love the backgrounds with the spirits floating around. And throughout the instructions, you'll actually find some concept art. I believe it's right before each bag. Yeah, stuff like that. You'll find concept art and some screen images. So you saw the Ilu on that one. And right here, there's an underwater sequence from the actual movie. And there is some more concept art. So very cool instruction manuals for this wave if you don't look at the cover of it. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the minifigures. First, we will start off with Soraya. So here's Soraya. She's not a part of the Metkayina tribe, actually. She is a part of the Metkayina tribe, the water people. And that's why she is, I believe, medium azure rather than the regular blue that we see with the Metkayina people like Jake Sully's people. This is the water tribe, so they have a lighter skin color. The hairpiece is not new by any means. It was introduced in the first wave. The face looks really nice. I love all these sort of tattoos that she's starting to grow over her face. And you can see those bioluminescent dots as well. Her expression looks a little bit deadpan in my opinion, but overall I think it's a really beautiful face print, especially with the green eyes, which are exclusive to her character. There's a look at the torso printing as well. Very nice design. We of course get that same tail piece that we saw before in the last wave of sets, just like this one, but recolored, which is a little bit of a bummer because the Metkayina tribe have more like fins, kind of like tail fins that are much larger. They're not as cat-like, but there's the back printing, more of those sort of tattoos and bioluminescent dots. Very nice. And then she's got some pretty good leg printing on the bottom. So a very, very nice minifigure. One of the better ones in my opinion from the Metkayina. I love the brighter blue. And it's also really cool, I almost forgot to mention that she uses regular legs since she is a teen minifigure. All the adult minifigures in the original Avatar wave use the tall woody legs and arms, while the teen characters use the longer legs. And next up, taking a look at Took, the youngest Sully member of the family. The youngest member of the Sully family, that's better worded. She actually uses mid-legs. She's the only character that uses mid-legs since she is the youngest character in the movie, so that's really cool to see. And she's got some pretty good leg printing. It's really consistent there. As you can see, there's the torso printing. That looks pretty great as well. The hairpiece is brand new for her character, and it's also used for Kiri. Now the face prints, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it kind of looks like Took, but Took is like 7 years old in the movie, I believe. And this looks more like a teen face. If you look at all the other teen faces, I know Soraya probably isn't the best example, but if you look at like Kiri, it's kind of hard to distinguish these two faces. So it's a cute face print. It kind of looks like Took Tiri, but at the same time, it looks a little bit too old for her character. But regardless, her hairpiece is very nice. I love the braided detail. There is the back printing, and of course she gets that regular tail just like always. So there were the minifigures, and now we'll take a close look at the Coral Reef build real quick. You get so many of these that honestly there's not too much different to say except for a couple pieces like this little ice cream piece. And this is used for the extra minifigure, which I really appreciate. So one can ride the Ilu, and one can float around in the water, and that creates a really cool effect. Obviously it's not perfect like that, but there you go. Now it can kind of look like a character is swimming underwater. They use those DC superhero jumper action pieces, so that's very nice. And then here is the Ilu build itself. I think this is a really nice build for $25. It definitely feels closer to 20, but I appreciate that you get the display stand. I feel like if this was 20, you wouldn't. So there is the coral display. As you can see, those are trans clear clips that are used for the fish right there. Those are brand new, introduced for this wave, and are just absolutely wild to see. You've got, once again, more of these plant pieces. There's one of those coral pieces with some flowers on it. And then you can, of course, take off the Ilu, and it's very swishable. It's pretty easy to swish around. It's a little bit thin, a little bit blocky here and there, but overall I think it's a pretty accurate design if you look at the movie. I believe this is a head from Jurassic World, but I'm pretty sure it isn't because they have these two studs on the back. The mouth opens just like a dinosaur head. That looks really cool. You can see all 4 eyes on there. The print quality is pretty good, I'd say. I love the design of the sort of yellow and blue and gray. It's very unique. And obviously you get these plastic wings that I really don't mind. Some people are for it, some people are against it, but I think it's pretty nice. My only issue with this build is that it looks really, really blocky. But regardless, I think the Ilu looks very cool. And you can obviously have one of the Navi characters pilot by sitting right here, and they can grab one of these pieces. My only problem, other than the blockiness, is that these fall off super easily. Just like in the first wave, you can connect the tails. I'm not going to show that for every set just because it takes a minute. And then, of course, they can hold on to one of the tails as well and ride the Ilu just like they do in the movie. It's a pretty fun idea. Like I said, these fall off really, really easily. They kind of have to lean like this. It doesn't look awful, but it doesn't look amazing. And then, of course, you can connect just like that. And honestly, that's a really cool $25 display piece in my opinion. You get some exclusive pieces, get some nice fabric wings. I think this looks really, really great. And then combine that with the Reef build, and then you can have another minifigure floating about in the water. And I think this is a pretty solid and complete set. You get a Navi minifigure with regular legs, a Navi minifigure with mid legs. They're both really detailed. They're both, for the most part, pretty accurate. You get some sweet coral builds, and overall a nice animal design. So I think this is a great set, although I'm going to give it about a 6 out of 10 just because it's $5, a little bit too high. It's a little too blocky, and there are some problems with the face prints in my opinion. But other than that, I think this would be a great set if they improved upon the face prints, made the Ilu a little less blocky, and shrunk it down by about $5. But if you were to buy this set for $25, I don't think you'd be too disappointed. One more thing I have to note though is that Tulkun can't really ride the Ilu that well. You can see on the box that she does ride the Ilu, but she sticks off a lot, and that's because she has mid legs. I've tried to display her riding it, and it doesn't look right because she has mid legs and just can't stretch far enough. You really have to pull the Ilu head like really far like this so she can really stretch. So it's probably best to have Soraya piloting it, in my opinion. I think it just looks a little bit better with her piloting. Like I said, these tail pieces fall off so incredibly easy, but overall this is a pretty solid little set. It's pretty good, not amazing, but pretty good. All right, and here is the next set going up in price. We have the Lego Avatar set 75576 Skimwing Adventure with 259 pieces, 2 minifigures, and it retails for $35, not $35.99. I was gonna say $34.99. No, $35. So let's take a quick look at the box and instructions. Once again, here's the box. As always, looking beautiful. It uses the same exact style that we saw before in the Ilu Discovery. punch tabs once again, unfortunately, but a very cool box design. Taking a quick look at the instructions. We're not going to take a look at the advertisements like we did before because it's the exact same. And before every single bag, you once again get some concept art for the Reef builds. There's some concept art from the movie. And about halfway through, once you get to bag 2, there you have Jake on his Skimwing and Tanawari and Ronal on their Skimwings. Kind of weird that they showed this outfit though for Tanawari, considering Tanawari is definitely not wearing that in this set. Kind of interesting, but very cool instruction book regardless. On to the minifigures. First, we are going to start off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, none other than Jake Sully, the man turned Na'vi. I think this is a pretty cool Jake Sully minifigure, definitely one of the cooler ones we've gotten. This is the only Jake Sully minifigure that we've gotten for this wave, unfortunately, but he is probably one of the coolest, like I said. He's got his like military jacket and vest on like we see in the movie, so that looks pretty cool. He's got the same leg prints that we've seen from the first wave of sets. As you can see, they use the long legs and arms that are a updated version of the woody arms and legs that we've seen before. He gets a crossbow as an accessory, which is kind of weird. He definitely does have a machine gun, and you even see in the instructions, I'm going to pull it up again real quick. You can even see in the instructions, he's very clearly holding like a shotgun or whatever. He's holding a very, very large gun. And we always know LEGO's anti-war policy and stuff, but come on, a crossbow. This is a much better upgrade in my opinion. If you have the 501st Battle Pack and that extra connected long rifle, use that and then add one of these clips at the bottom, and it looks so much cooler with Jake Sully, just like he does in the movie with that awesome machine gun. But anyways, taking a look at the face, I think it's a little bit strange. It's clear they're trying to go for a little bit of an older look here for him, but I don't know. The smirk just looks a little weird to me. He's pretty stern throughout the movie, but it's not the worst ever. It's not uncanny by any means. There's that original headpiece. And then this hairpiece, I believe, is brand new. I don't think I've seen this hairpiece on the Avatar 1 minifigures, so that's a cool new hairpiece. I don't think it works too well because he's got like one long braid just going across, and then there's that back printing, just like usual. So overall, not a bad minifigure. I just disagree with the accessory, really, but I understand LEGO's sort of standpoint on guns and sets, despite putting the exact same guns in Star Wars. But anyways, we're getting off topic here. Here is Tanawari. Now we do get 2 versions of Tanawari in this wave, and this is the cheapest option, and I think maybe the better option. The one in the Metkayina Reef home is based off of his outfit that we see for a majority of the movie, and this is whenever we first meet him, I believe. I still wish they gave him those red robes, at least, that we saw in the instruction manual just a little bit before. He has the exact same hairpiece as, He has the exact same hairpiece as Jake Sully, which is a little bit unfortunate because he's got a man bun in this movie, and there's no man bun. This hairpiece works a little better for Tanawari than it does Jake Sully, but the guy's got some hair sticking out right here, and it's just not there. But once again, similar to Soraya that we saw in the Ilu Discovery, this is Soraya's dad. He's the chief of the Metkayina water people, so it's a lighter blue color. Looks very cool. I love the longer leg printing on this compared to the other one. I like the shine on that sort of strap that goes over his chest right there. And once again, these facial tattoos on the Metkayina are so freaking cool, and I love it. This is probably one of the better face prints, and it just captures Cliff Curtis's look in this movie through motion capture so perfectly. That kind of disgruntled, angry look. I don't know what to call it. It's perfect. And then you get this really long staff with these cool blue end pieces. So overall, Tanawari is a very cool minifigure. Probably the standout in this set. So, on to the builds themselves. Let's take a look, obviously, at the coral build. First, here's the coral build. It's really nothing too crazy, just like before. It's just so you can have that extra minifigure swim around if they want to, while the other person rides the creature. It's pretty cool, but It's kind of small, so it's really nothing too crazy. There we go. And now we can take a look at the Skimwing. This is the main build of the set, obviously. As you can see, there are those tail pieces like before, but I like to tuck it back because with my Jake Sully, what I do is I have him hold his very nice machine gun type thing. I don't know what type of gun he had in the movie. I can't remember exactly, even after seeing it 2 times already. But I like to have him like that, and then just have him sit right there. I don't connect the tails to his tail, but just like that, because that's kind of how it looks in the shot from the trailer that we saw in the instructions, and of course in the movie. So that looks a lot cooler in my opinion. But this is an even cooler build than the Ilu Discovery in my opinion. Now there is a smaller display stand, not as much going on, but it's still pretty cool. I like the angle that the display stand puts it on. Taking a look at the headpiece, once again, it's kind of similar to Jurassic World. It can open and close. This is just an insane piece for a $35 set. You only really get this stuff in Jurassic World. Never really for a brand new blockbuster movie do you get this. At least it's very, very rare, but that closes like that. You once again get the plastic wings, and I love the design of the Skimwings, how they look like butterflies. So yeah, very cool right there. It's like a mix of butterfly and dragon. Very cool. It's a little bit boxy right here if you want to move the tail around and stuff. I do like the overall design still. And then the tail looks a little wonky. Looks a little mechanical to me. Like it lines up perfectly if you display it just like this. This piece just rests perfectly on any flat surface. But all of this Technic right here, I mean, yeah, you can kind of wiggle the tail back and forth. There goes the display stand. But it just looks strange to me with this sort of, I think it's a Bionicle fin piece right here. And then all these other Technic guys, it just looks way too techy for a tail. It doesn't look very natural, I should say. Just not really a fan of that. And I believe there's a hinge right here, so you can move this guy up and down. There's a ball joint for the head. It's very movable, but definitely be sure to pose it before you put it on the display stand, because as you've seen just the past couple of times, he does fall off the stand pretty well if you move him around. Now, obviously, the display stand is meant for it to sit on and not be moved around too much, so it makes sense, but definitely be sure to pose before you display. So there's the build for the Skimwing. I don't think I have too much else to say. I think this is a much better build than the Ilu. It looks a little less blocky. The tail's really the only problem that comes in for me, but other than that, it's a pretty great display piece, and with a couple upgrades, obviously. I think this is a pretty fantastic set overall. Don't really care for the Reef build, as per usual with the 2 smallest ones, just because they're just kind of extra there. But overall, the Skimwing is an amazing looking creature build that we rarely ever get from LEGO. We don't normally see something like this. And the amount of detail and effort that went into this set is just phenomenal in my opinion. I think it is a 7.5 out of 10. Our next set almost doubles in price at $60. This is set 7577, the Mako Submarine. Now, in my initial ranking of all the Avatar 2 sets about a month or so back, I put this one, I think, at the bottom of my list just because I didn't like the military sub, and I thought it was $80. I thought it was really overpriced, but it actually ended up being $60, not $80. So my opinion has changed slightly on it. But regardless, this set retails for $60. You get the submarine, a lot more Reef builds, and 4 different minifigures. So let's go ahead and take a look at this strange set that I'm still kind of conflicted with. So, first off, once again, let's take a quick look at the box. This one I actually really like. I love that this one's fully underwater. You see all the bubbles coming off of the submarine. You see the little stingray right there. Characters swimming around. This is one of the true full underwater boxes, so there is that. Toss that down here. And here's a quick look at the instructions. Once again, hopefully I can do this a little bit quicker.
Alright, bag one. Let's see.
Here's our first set of concept art and screen grab. I think this is the same one from the Ilu Discovery for the Coral Reef builds. And here is a screen grab from the movie of the submarine and the actual concept art, which is very, very close to the real thing. And I really love how they showed the full concept art for the submarine. It's very cool, despite it having some pretty major inaccuracies whenever you're comparing actual hard copy photos in your instructions. But anyways, so let's get back to where we are next, which is obviously the minifigures. I'm going to start off in order, which that means first off, we have another member of the Sully family. This is the oldest child of the Sully family. This is Netayam. And Netayam is honestly one of the more underrated minifigures, in my opinion, because I think this minifigure is really, really accurate. I gotta try and get my camera up right here first. Yeah, I think Netayam is really accurate. If you look at the face print and look at it side by side with the picture from the movie, I think it looks extremely accurate. This hairpiece, I believe, is the same one that we've seen from the first one, from the first wave of sets, definitely. The torso is very unique. You once again get more of those bioluminescent dots. I like the little neck piece there as well. And his leg printing is pretty good. You see like a couple accessories right there or something. The printing is great on the legs. The brown printed on blue. And then there is a look at the back print right there. So overall, it's a pretty good minifigure. You've got one of the one of the Sully family knives, I guess you could say. He looks great, and I think he looks really accurate. He's not the most exciting figure ever, but he looks really close to his on-screen character appearance. And then next up, we have another member of the Metkayina clan. This is Soraya's brother, Alnung, and he uses regular legs, just like Netayam, which I forgot to mention. Once again, lighter blue skin tone. He uses the long braided back hairpiece, which I believe was in the first wave, I want to say. I think it was. The face, once again, looks a little deadpan like Soraya, but this one looks a little worse. It just looks really, really off here. I do like the little, maybe whale tooth necklace, perhaps? I don't know why you'd have a whale tooth necklace. I don't know exactly what that is. If somebody knows, let me know. Once again, you got those bioluminescent dots. I love how they shine up against light and then you don't see them as much. It's a really nice detail on these figures. Once again, some really nice leg printing. And there is the back print. So there's Alnung. He's probably the worst figure in this set just because the face just is creepy compared to Soraya. But regardless, here is our only tall Navi figure. This is the Navi, I guess you could say Navi Quartz or Avatar Quartz. He uses the same hairpiece that Alnung does, which I think works pretty well here for him. The face looks funny and pretty accurate. The torso and legs are very nice with that militaristic look to it that you don't get very often from Lego. The back print actually looks like it could be pretty useful for something. There's not even any blue on the sides or on the front or top of the torso. Very nice detailing. The only issue that I have is that he uses that blue tail and it just bleeds through in between the torso and the legs, and it just kind of looks like his belly is sticking out. I know they were able to color over some of these pieces in, I think, the Looney Tunes CMF series for Speedy Gonzales, and it looked perfectly fine, but here it's clear they didn't have the budget to do that. But there's Navi Quartz. I think he's a cool minifigure, but I think the regular human version from the first wave is just a little bit better. And finally, we have Spider. I can't say a whole lot about this guy for spoiler reasons, but he looks great. We have the, I guess you can say, or the Lobo hairpiece. I was about to say Aquaman hairpiece. The Lobo hairpiece in medium nougat, which could be useful for like Thor or something. The face print's very accurate. I love the mask, the oxygen mask they has to wear. And the back print also is just spot on with that angry expression. There's a look at the back print as well. I love these sand blueprints for the paint because he tries to look like the Navi in the movie because he wants to be one. You got some mid legs and medium nougat and some printing on there as well. And I maybe think this is the best figure in this set. I think it's a tie between him and Netayam because both are just so accurate and look so much like their on-screen character. All right, so now let's take a look at the two Reef builds. Once again, these are slightly more exciting. Here we've got a smaller one. I love the use of the cupcake pieces, and there's that crown piece that glows in the dark from the Angry Birds series. You got a medium azure banana, that coral piece, And once again, you can make it look as if characters are swimming around with those jumper action posing piece things. And then you get a huge piece of coral using the, what are they called? Big ugly rock pieces, the burp pieces, there we go. And it's actually a cave inside, which plays into the movie. I won't say how, but it is accurate to the movie. I have this cave. You also get multiple jumpers throughout, and you get this really cool stingray, which was originally from Lego City, but this one's reprinted. It's got that purple and those bioluminescent dots, and you can have this little guy swimming around, and it looks really cool. This is easily one of the best coral builds in the set. You also get some purple carrots and more of those crown pieces, and once again, you can make it look like these characters are swimming about underwater, which is very fun. I think this is one of the best coral builds, pretty easily. Now, on to the namesake of the set, the Mako Submarine. I did not like this set at all whenever it first got revealed, but it's grown on me. As you can see, we've got another display stand, just like usual, and there's actually a jumper right here for a character to swim alongside. I didn't even notice that. I don't think there's any others, it's just that one, but not a bad display stand. It's definitely higher up. I do like the sand green and dark tan design. There, look at the sort of back jets. I don't have a lot to say about it, but it's got some nice sticker details. I like the wings on the side. It's overall fairly accurate until you get to this side where there's just completely open holes for the submarine. They should have come up with something better to where it was more enclosed, because unless the characters in this set really know the way of water, there's no point in calling this a submarine because it's so open. But anyways, you can open it up and you can put Quaritch on the inside, which I will say doesn't really make any sense because Quaritch actually never pilots this in the movie. That's not really a spoiler, but he never pilots one of these in the movie at all. But regardless, I feel like they just needed a set to include Spider and Quaritch in, so they chose this one, which still makes sense in the context of the movie. It's just that they never use one of these. It looks a little bit awkward for Quaritch. You can obviously push him farther back with the tail and stuff, but I'm just going to leave him right there for now. And then Spider fits pretty snugly, as you saw before. I personally don't display the figures with it because they look so much better outside as just really cool minifigures. And this is still probably my least favorite build of the wave. But anyways, I forgot to show those little sticker details. There they are, right there. You can kind of see it right there. And then there's one right up here. Those are stickered, not printed. But then up here, I believe you can lift off this hatch and you get this orange stuff. I'm not going to say what this orange stuff is, but it is accurate to the movie. And it makes complete sense for this to be in this set with the submarine. It correlates it. It makes sense and it is accurate. These bananas won't stop falling off. That's one problem with the coral and the sort of underwater display things, is that you can't move it around too much or else they'll fall off. But overall, the submarine, it looks cool, but really my biggest complaint is the fact that it can hardly be a submarine because it can't be enclosed, and that really bugs me. So overall, here's the set all together. I think the minifigures are actually pretty well done. Other than Al Noon's face print, I think it's a pretty fantastic set for a kid. Now, for a collector, it's a little too, I don't know how to say it, kiddie, I guess. It feels too much like just a toy that you see on shelves, like a plastic submarine, which I guess is kind of what it was going for, but I think the figures shine here more than the build itself does, and I'm giving it, I'm going to say, probably a 5.5 out of 10. Still love it for the minifigs, but this just drags it down way too much for me. Alright, and our second to last set of the wave, and the second to last most expensive, is set 75578 Metkayina Reef Home with 528 pieces, 4 minifigures, and it retails for a whopping $80 in the United States. I know the price is very controversial, but personally for me, I bought this on discount, so I don't really mind, and I would have bought this full price anyways, because this is still my favorite Avatar: The Way of Water set, and I still absolutely love this set because I am just a sucker for play sets, and I love this movie. So that combined really made me love this set. Plus, I think all 4 of the minifigures in this set are perfect. Out of all the sets in this wave, This one has the best lineup, a nice even split of Metkayina and Omatikaya, and a fantastic looking display and play piece. So let's go ahead and take a closer look, setting all of these guys aside. Here is the box. It's a lot bigger, it's harder to fit all on the screen, but I love how you get that water level in the set, which we'll take a closer look at. So we get above water and underwater. And then here is the back of the box. Now taking a look at the instructions, this one probably has the best concept art and screen grabs out of all the instructions. There are the Metkayina Reef homes and one of the Metkayina sort of kayaks, if you will. Both are concept art. And then I believe it's page 100 where the other one is. I did plan this one out quite a bit better. Let's see, it should be page 100. There it is. There is Jake Sully's Metkayina Reef home, and there is inside the reef home that we see from the movie, so you know what in the world Neytiri is cooking in this set, because it is Jake Sully's Metkayina house. If anybody was wondering, some people thought it was Tanawari and Ronal's, but it's Jake Sully's based on the concept art. That's what they based all of this off of. These are the images I'm sure they were given, so yeah. This is the Sully Metkayina Reef home. So let's take a closer look at the minifigures. I'm going to have this set in the back this time, so we can have a nice background. And first up, we're going to take a close look at Ronal. Move it up a little bit closer. This is technically our very first Kate Winslet minifigure, and I think this is easily one of the best, if not the best, Avatar minifigure in this second wave. Stunning. It's just a stunning minifigure. There's so much detail. It's the same exact hairpiece we've been getting since wave 1. Once again, the face tattoos are great, as well as that sort of seashell that's hanging from her forehead. The shine on the torso is fantastic with those shells. It looks so good. And then you can sort of see the belly tattoos where it's supposed to look like she's pregnant, like she is in the movie. And then the leg print is a vibrant orange and dark orange. And it looks really good. And it's on a olive green base. Overall, this is a fantastic looking minifigure, and she's portrayed perfectly in Lego form. And then next up, we have Tanawari. And I'll go ahead and get the other Tanawari from the Skimwing. And as you can see, it's not too big of a difference, although I do like this one better because there's more of a shine and the tailpiece doesn't interfere. You can just say that's more of his torso. But on this one, the tail bleeds through, and you can see those lines that are supposed to carry down onto the hips from the torso, and that tailpiece unfortunately interrupts it. Forgot to say that the head, hairpiece, and the staff are both the exact same build, same pieces. This torso is a little bit better. I just like the shine on this one a little bit more, and the fact that there's no interference with that tailpiece. There is the back. I think they're pretty similar back prints, yeah. But overall, another really good Tanawari minifigure, and you just can't go wrong with him. And next up, we have our only Neytiri minifigure of this wave, similar to Jake. She gets only one minifigure from this wave. Since we got so many of Jake and Neytiri in the first wave, they're only giving us one of each for the second wave, which makes sense. Once again, same hairpiece as Ronal, same hairpiece we've been getting. The face print is the exact same. The legs are the exact same that we've been getting since the original wave, I believe. The only thing new is the torso, which does look pretty nice. There's a look at the back prints. The back prints are really nothing too new. I don't know why I even show them. But this is a really great Neytiri figure. A nice addition, even if we already have quite a few basic Neytiri figures. But this one's got a little bit of uniqueness. The torch wasn't in the movie. I just came back from watching the movie about 30 minutes to an hour ago, so I'm filming this later at night. You may notice the lighting isn't as bright right now. But I watched Avatar: The Way of Water 3 times now, and she never uses this torch in the movie. I really wish that the song chord that she used at the beginning, the beads, was included. I don't know how in the world they build that, but that would be a much better accessory in my opinion. But overall, not a bad Neytiri figure. And then the final Omatikaya character is Kiri. She uses the regular sized adult legs from like Lego City and stuff for a teen, and she looks really good. She uses the same hairpiece as Took, which is kind of why I said before the comparison for Took and her age to Kiri. The hairpiece doesn't really help, but this hairpiece works for Kiri. Her hair is kind of messy in the movie. Her torso print is really detailed. I love that. The leg prints are unique. And overall, it looks really cool because she just wears more sort of ornaments on her in the movie. So it's cool to see a little more detail. And that face print, I think, is just perfect. I think it kind of looks like Sigourney Weaver somehow, but overall, I think this is probably, other than Ronald, the most accurate minifigure in the wave, I'd say. So there were all the minifigures. And now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the build. We do get one small little reef thing, despite already having some underneath. Got a jumper and a couple plant pieces, and that's about it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reef home going from left to right. There is a little bucket, and you get a paddle and a fish inside. Here is the kayak. You can seat one minifigure, I believe, with the tail pretty easily. I think it works better for longer legged minifigures because they can fully stretch out, but it does work for any of the characters. It's a pretty cool canoe. It's got some neat colors. Overall, nothing too crazy, but you can put a jump, you can place it back on with the jumper. There's a little path that leads into the reef home. I'll try and get in there to the best of my ability. I'll go ahead and lift it up a little bit. Here you can see a little cooking area. There's a couple plates. There's a basket right there. I leave a purple carrot. I don't know exactly what that is. Got a fish burning over the fire. And oh, I completely forgot to show this. I believe this spear, I tossed these in here because I didn't care to show them in the other sets while they're on display. This spear is for either Tuk or Soraya in the Ilu Discovery, and this stud shooter arrow is for Aonung, and I don't want to shoot it off right now, but it is a really cool piece, just a little too giant. I just never showed these accessories at all in those reviews because I had hid them over here because they weren't ever going to be displayed, so I just hid them in the reef home. I can't believe I forgot to take those out. Anyways, there's the interior pretty much, but I love the plastic shades that go over it. They're real flexible. They don't seem very breakable. There's also this nice leaf topper on top, so it doesn't look super awkward with like just a bunch of Technic pieces. It looks really well done. There's some really great prints on top. I think that looks so cool. I don't know how they would have done this with plates. I don't think it would have looked as good, and I just think it looks fantastic. I think it looks amazing. This probably would have been a better angle to look at the interior, but there is the interior. Not a whole lot going on, but you can fill up a whole lot of minifigures inside. There's a little ladder right here, and then we'll take a look at these sort of water levels. They use these hexagonal, I guess, plates, and they use some white tiles and some clear pieces to create the foamy look. So that's the water level. And then throughout you can see multiple different plant pieces, all the different shrubbery, a bunch of jumpers, once again more fish on those clear clips, which are very cool, and just a bunch of really crazy plant pieces and fish. And I think it just looks so cool. There's not a whole lot to it. I just think it looks very cool, and it's an amazing display piece. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And the final set, and arguably coolest set of the wave, is set 75579, Payakan the Tulkun and Crabsuit, with 761 pieces and 3 minifigures. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the box of instructions. Just like before, this box art looks really cool, honestly. Payakan was one of the coolest parts of the movie, in my opinion. And here is the back of the box. And in the instructions, you get 2 pieces of concept art. I don't know if that's concept art or if that's actually from the movie. I think it's concept art. 2 pieces of concept art from the movie for the crab suit, which looks really cool, and I think they translated it pretty well into Lego if you look at the actual build. And then you've got some screen grabs of Payakan and Loak from the movie. Not concept art, just 2 really well done shots from the movie. 2 of my favorites. I just really hate the covers of these. I can't stand looking at these. You get so much cool concept art and so much cool designs inside, and then the front is just so plain. But anyways, let's start off with the minifigures, going in order of what it shows in the box. Unfortunately, first up we have, what's this guy even called? The Crabsuit Driver? Yeah, the Crabsuit Driver. Pretty lame minifigure for a $100 set. A pretty lame exclusive minifigure for a $100 set. I understand they need him to pilot the Crabsuit, and the printing is obviously very, very good, especially when compared to the Quartz minifigure. He goes pretty well, but it's just a generic Thug minifigure. Outside of that, he's got some cool printing, but other than that, it's a pretty lame exclusive. Now, a pretty good exclusive that makes complete sense for him to be exclusive to this set is Loak, since he has such a bond with Payakan, and this minifigure is pretty perfect as well. The only thing that's missing, I think, is his sort of net communication device. But then again, almost all the Na'vi characters have those, and really that's the only unique thing you could put on his torso, but it would be like right printed on the neck piece right there if it was going to be truly accurate. But I think that smirk is pretty spot on. He separates himself enough from Natayam to where he looks unique, and I think that those set of legs are exclusive to him. Don't count me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Overall, really solid minifigure. Same old torso, but it looks very accurate, and it looks like the character. And then finally, the only not exclusive minifigure is Soraya, which we saw in the cheapest set, the Ilu Discovery. Once again, it makes sense why she's here in the context of the movie, and she's still a great minifig to get twice. But man, there's really only one good exclusive minifigure. The other one makes sense, and the other one's just kind of lame. I really wish we got like at least one more character, even if it didn't make sense in the context of the set. But the main draw here is Payakan the Tulkun. But first, we're going to take a quick look at the Crabsuit, which I think is still pretty equally cool. And I think it justifies the $100 price tag a little bit more. Obviously, like everything here, you do get a display stand with a bunch of coral. The legs should pop out pretty easily, just like this. I think that's all you have to do to extend it all out. And it looks like a crab. Pretty crazy, right? This part opens up. It's got like a tiny control panel. And then, of course, you can seat the crab suit driver in there pretty easily. There are no studs to attach him, but he fits really snugly in there. And then you can just fold these back up, just like so. It's pretty easy. It's not too difficult. Pretty quick transition. You just gotta make sure that this area is open enough to where you can put him on the display stand. I take back what I said about this part being easy. But there we go. It pretty much works. It just takes a second to fold up. I take back what I said about it being easy, but overall, it's a cool little suit. It reminds me of the Overwatch hamster wheel guy. I can't remember his name, but he used sand green. He folded up kind of like that, so he's pretty cool. And then here's Payakan. There's not a whole lot to say about him because he's pretty simple overall, but you got the nice reef build. He can, of course, detach. You've got the tail fin at the end that can move up and down. This back part that moves on hinge. I don't think the head moves at all. It's just like that. That's all you can really move him around. But by far the coolest part about Payakan, at least to me, is this giant headpiece that's one mold right here, one right here, one right here, and one right here. It's 4 pieces so he can open his mouth and swallow up a bunch of tiny fish. All 3 of the top pieces are brand new. The bottom one isn't. But man, it is such a cool mold. Unfortunately, he's missing the scar on his, I think it was his left eye or his right eye or left. I can't remember for sure, but either way, they're missing one of the scars on his eyes. But other than that, he's really cool. Then it just closes up. It's pretty flush. It lines up really perfectly just like that. Before I close it up though, you can maybe see, maybe if I move my light in a little bit closer, an orange Technic piece back there that plays into the movie, but I won't say how. But it is a really cool little piece of information there to add to the set. Definitely a cool detail. That headpiece is just so cool. Some people may say that the color's a little bit inaccurate and he's closer to a black or a gray. I agree with that, but the dark blue just looks cool to me. I don't know. It works for me. You've got his Nemo fin, as I call it, the stubby fin, because one is supposed to be shorter than the other. I believe it's on the right side. There's one right here, and you can attach minifigures with their arms if you position them right. Those little clip pieces on the end allow you to let the character swim along with Payakan, which is a cool feature. And then obviously you've got the fins right here. I'm pretty sure they're fins. I can't find the right name at the moment. But they move up and down, obviously. And on the top, you've got a couple of those stamp pieces, which allows you to place Loak on top, so he can ride on top of Payakan, just like in the movie. And it creates a pretty cool look, in my opinion. I think that works really well. There's what the top of him looks like. Like I said, there's not really a whole lot to him, aside from being a really cool exterior piece and just some interior, I guess you want to call it. So overall, there is Payakan the Tulkun and Crabsuit. I think this is a really well done set. I think it's well worth the $100. I know it's only 761 pieces, and some people may think it's overpriced, but honestly, I don't think it is. I think the Metkayina Reef home is more overpriced. You get a full build right here. Like this is a large build with a display stand, and you essentially get a giant Lego whale. I know James Cameron says that they're not whales, they're Tulkuns. They're completely biologically different, but this is the closest thing we'll probably get to a giant Lego whale. I don't think City's gonna make a whale as big as this. It's huge. It's really, really long. It's giant, and I love it. It's such a cool set, such a cool display piece, and just this feature alone, I think, should sell anybody. It's such a cool set, such a cool display piece, and I feel like you get a lot here until you come down to the minifigures, so I think this set is an 8 out of 10. So there you all have it. There was my review for every single LEGO Avatar The Way of Water set. This was a pretty fun Mega review to make. I loved taking a look at all of these sets, and overall I think this is actually a really good wave of sets. Now I don't have all of the first wave. I have a couple of them. I'm only missing the cheapest two, I believe, and then the brickheads. So I'm almost done with the first wave, and if you want to see a Mega review of the first wave, let me know and I'd love to do that. But overall I think the second wave is very, very strong. You get a very wide array of creature builds, military builds, even a military build in here, and a playset. I think it's a very wide selection with a lot of variety. Now it is a little bit expensive, a little bit overpriced here and there, but I'd say if you have the VIP discounts, go for these sets because they're amazing, they're colorful, and you get a large variety of builds. I think they're pretty well done. So if you all enjoyed this Mega review, and if you all enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, I will see you all in the next one. Onati Kamea.